When you have an informed opinion on any topic, then let your voice be heard. That is what we do on Express Yourself. Express Yourself is a production of the Drury University Department of Communication and the Drury University Debate Union, where we teach students the arts and skills of debating and then encourage them to apply those skills in various forms of civil discourse. This week's panelists are Christopher Cassidy, a senior studying criminology and sociology from Nixa, Missouri. He wants to get his doctorate in criminology and continue to do research. His favorite speaker is Ronald Reagan.
Erin Benedict, a freshman from Owasso, Oklahoma. Erin is studying history, and her favorite speaker is Stephen Colbert.
Austin Cassidy from Nixa, Missouri. Austin is a junior studying communication. His career goal is to be a business leader. His favorite speaker of all time is Donald Trump. Alexander Long, a senior from Mount Vernon, Missouri. Studying psychology, Andrew hopes to be a lawyer one day, and his favorite public speaker of all time in psychology is Ronald Reagan. Our facilitator and moderator is Dr. Charlie DeBerry, director of the Drury University Debate Union. And now, here's Charlie.
Thank you and welcome to the program. We have a new member of the Drury University Debate Union with us on the panel today, and so I want to mention Erin Benedict from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And are you ready to express yourself?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're going to be looking forward to it, but let's go straight to the topic. You know, we are devoting a few shows to the race that is going to determine who the nominees are for the presidency of the United States. You know, it was just 1 week ago that we sat here 1 week ago on the show and prognosticated about the Republican primary races and how we thought the nominations were shaping up. Just 1 week ago, it still looked like either Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio could possibly threaten the Donald Trump campaign. We have now had primary elections in 3 important states, and Donald Trump has won everything there is to win. It would appear he has laid bare any hope or fantasy that the Republican establishment had of stopping him. So, for this show, I've challenged the panelists to discuss possible scenarios in which Trump could lose the nomination. So we're going to see if they can get a little bit creative here. And panelists, how can the Trump train be stopped? Who wants to jump in?
Well, I've calculated the numbers and went over everything, and I've come to the conclusion that there's about one thing that can happen. He could die.
Okay. But let's look at some less possible outcomes, such as, Mitt Romney said the other day that he believes there's a bombshell hidden in Donald Trump's taxes. When I was thinking about this would have to be a nuclear bombshell. And so I'm thinking that would have to be, tax evasion, not giving to charity, along with the other candidates jumping in and, taking that and running with it at the next debate, which is tonight in Houston. So, that's one thing that has to happen, as soon as possible, but, it's not very likely.
Another thing that has to happen is Rubio has to drop out. Let's look at Florida. In Florida, he has no chance of winning, even if he had all of Cruz's vote, all of Bush's vote, and then all of his own vote, and he still wouldn't be able to beat Trump in his own home state. There's no reason for Rubio to be in it at this point. And even if he did drop out, then all of his votes would still go to Cruz, because constituents would see Cruz as being the lesser form of Trump, and so they'd prefer Trump over Rubio. And so if you combine Cruz's votes and Rubio's votes, then you would end up you would have a great chance of Cruz beating Trump.
I disagree. I think that Rubio is like a moderate electable candidate. I think a lot of I think a lot of people who don't support Trump and think that Cruz is too right-leaning will go to him, especially now that Jeb Bush has dropped out. I think Kasich needs to drop out as well, and Rubio will have a good base.
I would disagree with that. I think they should all stay in and attempt to win each of their home states, so that to do well enough to where Trump doesn't get the eventual, enough delegates to take the whole prize, and therefore the national convention establishment would be able to pick the candidate of their choice.
Look, Trump's got Florida. I mean, there's no way Rubio can take Florida, because I've already gone over the facts. I mean, but it's really cute, Austin, that you're trying to still suggest that Rubio can win Florida. But I'm sorry to tell you,
like
that's
I said earlier, all of this is I said earlier, this is less of a chance of happening than Trump dying. I mean, this is pure speculation. Even with Marco Rubio dropping out, it's not going to change much of anything unless something drastic were to happen, such as Donald Trump digging himself in a hole and getting arrested for tax evasion or something like that.
If you really want to know how to stop Trump, then you got to get smart. You got to make him look like he's part of the establishment. So we need all of Congress to endorse Trump, and that'll make him look like he's part of the establishment. I mean, that's really the only way.
All right, I want to know. I know, Aaron, you had mentioned something earlier, and we've it almost seems futile at this point to ask, but I want to know: is there anything you think Donald Trump could say that would be so offensive that it would take him out?
I don't think so. I think that his offensiveness actually helps him in the race. I think people construe his bluntness as honesty, and they really appreciate that he's not being politically correct.
I would second that. In South Carolina, he connected 9/11 to the Saudis, and this was all before the South Carolina primary. Then he brought up a 28-page classified document. He got into a fight with the Pope. He called Obama bad for black people. He then got into another fight with Fox News, Megyn Kelly, and Murdoch again. He then threatened to sue Ted Cruz. He then called for a boycott of Apple. He then got Ford to cancel plans to build a factory in Mexico. He then attacked George W. Bush, who South Carolina loves. He then came out against the use of military force in 9/11. After 9/11, he then talked about shooting Muslims with bullets dipped in pig's blooded bullets. I mean, come on. And then finally, he didn't do anything the day of election in South Carolina. I mean, he said all of this, and he still won by a landslide.
Well, they're interviewing a lot of people about how Trump has had it fairly easy in his campaign. He's the only candidate who can fly his Learjet home every night and sleep in his own bed, and then start afresh the next day while everyone else is out on the campaign trail. And but you're suggesting he's already done everything he could do offensive. I mean, if he came out and said women are second-class citizens, do you think maybe
would it really change much? I mean, with all the bad things he said, those were just at one campaign state. With the culmination of everything else he said a whole lot worse. And I mean, anything that he would say that he could come out and say isn't going to stop him.
And also something shocking that happened that I was totally surprised on was he got the majority vote for Hispanics in Nevada, 45%. I mean, this is the guy who came out and said that Hispanics crossing the border are rapists and murderers. I mean, and then he still got the majority vote for them.
I think we're just going to have to start realizing that this person we thought was going to be done within the first couple of months isn't going to be done, and he's there for the long run. He's probably going to win.
I would have to agree with you.
So you don't see anything short of a demise that
death, nuclear bomb, tax evasion.
And Congress doesn't realize what they have to do to stop Trump because they don't really take action on any policy, and they don't really agree on anything. So they're never going to stop Trump. So,
all right, I want to take it just a little different direction here. Then, I mean, I'm getting the idea that no one had a plan here. No one's got anything that Rubio can do. Hope to win his home state, but you're saying that that's not likely. Cruz,
as far as something somebody could legitimately do, if Rubio dropped out directly without any other campaigning, just dropped out and supported Ted Cruz, then there's maybe a chance of Ted Cruz winning. If also at the same time Donald Trump came out and said women are second class.
I think it would have to go further than that. I think Rubio would have to drop out, and then Ted Cruz could come out tomorrow and say that he's making Rubio the vice president and that he's going to elect him, and then you'd for sure have Ted Cruz take all of Rubio's votes.
But even still, I mean, you'd have to have all of the voters and more from Rubio going to Cruz And I mean, and that's assuming, which is you'd think would happen because a lot of them are establishment. But then you have a representative in Congress who is a former Jeb Bush supporter going over and being the first congressional person to endorse Trump.
See, he's the only smart person because that's going to hurt Trump. Trump doesn't want anyone from Jeb Bush's campaign going to him. I mean, what the heck?
And so the point of it is, I think that we're trying to make is that it's possible that you could stop Trump if all these other things came together. But Rubio's not going to drop out right now. Donald Trump's probably not going to say women are second-class citizens, and Ted Cruz isn't going to have Rubio as his VP.
All right, so if Rubio stays in and Cruz stays in, which it looks like they both will, then Donald Trump may have been correct at his victory speech in Nevada, in which he said it may not take 2 months to wrap up this nomination. You agree with that?
I think it's really interesting that in Nevada, he said he got almost 48% of the Hispanic vote, which is crazy to think about what he said about, people coming across the border from Mexico. So he's getting people to vote for him who's from all these different demographics. And it's really insane to think that there's a way he could be stopped through any practical measure. So,
right. Well, I think it's funny that even when he tries to pay someone a compliment, he still ends up doing it as kind of a left-handed insult. I mean, after he got the Hispanic vote in Nevada, he said he wanted to let everybody know how much he appreciated uneducated people voting for him. Right.
That's his whole campaign strategy, though. He said, yeah, I love the low educated people, and I mean that's his whole campaign strategy is to get free media attention through misguided statements or almost underhanded backhanded compliments.
And look, Trump has a significant media background. I mean, he was on a reality TV. He knows how to play the cameras. We've seen him do it during every debate. Whenever he'll get into a fight with somebody, he'll turn away and show his back to them throughout the entire time he's in an argument with them. It makes the other people look weak. And furthermore, the second thing that he has going for him is he knows how to make jokes and he knows how to get people to laugh. He can take any comment or negative comment about him that he doesn't like and he can instantly turn it around like he did exactly with what Megyn Kelly asked him in the first debate about his position on women, to which he replied, only Rosie O'Donnell. I mean...
Well, if they really were serious about getting Trump maybe lowering his poll numbers, the media would have to do a media blackout on Trump. Every media provider would have to cancel Trump and not have any interviews with him. Do not even mention him being running. Establish Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz being the two candidates.
The problem with that is it just brings us into a moral dilemma. I mean, when you report on something where somebody gets into a fight with a pope, I mean that's news that people need to hear about usually. And so how far will Trump step it up, and how long can the media just keep on ignoring him? Because we know he'll just up his game if the media tries that.
Well, I'm going to have to try to wrap this up because you're right about the media and everything, and the fact that that's shown up in the fact that he has only spent approximately $15 million at this point compared to Jeb Bush had spent $154 million, just to give you a comparison. And so he's not spending much money, and he's getting all this media anyway. So here's my wrap-up question on Trump. Do you think that there are two Trumps here? Do you think there's the Trump? Do you think maybe he's just a good actor because of his television experience and so forth? Are there two Trumps here? Is there the Trump that's running for president, and then the Trump that will be a completely different diplomatic Trump if by some infinitesimal chance he were to win the presidency? Then will we see a different Trump? And you'll have to make your answers fairly short here.
Well, I think that if he is elected president, I think it would have to show when he's elected president because he's going to have to do something. He's probably going to do something similar in the general election. But that's all just kind of a waiting game. It's a gamble. I mean, Nevada, they went all in on Trump. I mean, it's just a gamble. So we're not really going to know until he's in office. And in the interview with Stephanopoulos on NBC, he said, he's like, yeah, I could, be more presidential when the time's right, maybe in a couple months. Okay. And so he's saying, he will be, but we haven't seen that so far.
Right. Go ahead.
I think he'll still show a certain persona to the people to gain the support he's been getting so far. But as far as being a president, I think he will step up his game and be a more presidential person.
All right, let's go, Aaron.
I think he will take his Trumpness down a notch when it comes down to it, to show that he can be a leader for the U.S.
All right,
I think
Chris.
once he stumps every other candidate, then he'll end up taking his Trump down. And also, he did say on MSNBC that he will do that once the other candidates are knocked out.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Thank you, panelists, for another fantastic job. And thank you, viewers, for tuning into today's session. If you would like to see more examples of Express Yourself, you can go to drury.edu/debate. And you'll see a video series there where you can click and see a plethora of shows on Express Yourself. So remember, the next time you have a difference of opinion on any given topic, keep emotions out of it, stick to the facts, and never make it personal. And then when you're ready, you can express yourself. Again, thanks, and we'll see you next time.